In this lesson, we're going to look at another type of loop called the range-based for loop, which is very similar to the for each loop that you might see in other languages. And I'm going to demonstrate that through the use of a vector. So let's include the vector library. Oops, excuse that. Let me fix that problem. So here we go. So we're going to create a vector. And we'll just do it simply. So there's our vector of 10 integers, the first 10. And we'll do to sum that. So the range-based for loop works like this. You write for, then we create a variable, colon, and then the name of the container, for instance, that we're going to work with. And what happens is that the compiler recognizes this as a range-based for. So it's going to use an iterator to start at the beginning of numbers and go through the end of numbers, taking each element in succession and storing it in the variable n. And then with that in there, then we can do whatever we want to n, and then it's going to go back to the next one. So it's going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then stop, because it has a begin iterator and an end iterator that understands where the beginning of the vector starts and where the end of the vector is. So let's write out the sum. All right, so let's run this code. And there's 55. It'll work just as well with an integer array, or any kind of array. I shouldn't have said integer array. We'll do the very same thing. Oops. Then we'll display the sum again. Compile and run the program. Very same result. The advantage of using the range-based for loop is that you don't have to worry about determining where the end of the container is. So we don't have to use size in the case of a vector, and we don't have to know the length of the nums array to use this. So there's a huge advantage when you're trying to process each element of the container to use a range-based for loop, because that way you don't have to worry about going outside the bounds of either a vector, an array, or whatever type of container you want to use. So again, just to summarize, the range-based for loop starts out with for. You declare a variable to store each element, followed by a colon, followed by the name of the container, and then in the block you simply do whatever it is you're going to do to process those elements, and that's how you create and use the range-based for loop.